In this video, we are going to start making some simple characters. We will make a little girl and a zebra, as you see here on this zoo-themed cake. Previously, we've talked about the tools needed for character modeling and how to prep the fondant and gum paste. If you are a total beginner in character modeling, I encourage you to watch those two videos so that you know what you need to get started. Keep in mind that when I say fondant throughout the video, it really means fondant and gum paste mix, as I demonstrated in my previous video. When making a character, you need some type of glue to stick all pieces together. There are three options. First, you can just use water. However, water won't work once the fondant is already dry. In this case, you need either edible glue, like this one right here, or a paste with a sticky consistency. And what do I mean by that? We'll take a piece of fondant paste, dip it in the water, then mix it with a spatula to give the paste a creamy and sticky consistency. If you are using a sticky paste, make sure its color is similar to the color of the pieces that you are sticking together. Let's make the little girl's head. Always start by stretching and pulling the fondant to get into a malleable form, then form a ball shape. After you roll it into a ball, if you see small lines or cracks in it, break it apart and start stretching and pulling again. If you ignore any cracks at the beginning stage, the crack will stay there and won't go away when you're done. To make things worse, it may get more noticeable and could potentially break apart. You want to start anything you are making with a smooth surface. This looks pretty good. I will now make a slight curve for the eye area. This is optional, I just think it looks better this way. The slight indentation for the eye area adds a little bit of depth to the character. Now I'm going to mark where the nose and ears will be. Start with just a tiny mark, then make the holes bigger as you go, to the desired size. Apply some glue to the holes. Take a small piece of fondant. First, make it into a teardrop shape, then insert the nose. Give it a light press to form the shape. We'll do the same for the ears. The reason that I first made a little hole, then insert the teardrop shape into it, because this will be more secure. If we just stick a small piece of fondant on another, once it's dry, it may fall off easily when you're handling it. For the ears, I will give it a little more detail. I will shape it with a little ball too. To do this, I'll lift the head, place my fingers behind it, then gently press the ball into the ear. And just like that, the ear looks much better already. If you don't have a ball tool, you can do the same with a fondant modeling tool. Just keep pressing it gently until you reach the size you want. Moving to the eyes, we'll use the same technique. Always start by a light marking, then make the holes bigger little by little. Make a bigger hole for the eye. Again, you don't have to have the ball tool for this. Any small round shape modeling tool will work. There are many ways to make the eyes, just like all other parts of the character. You can skip the white part and just use 2 black dots for the eyes if you want. As for the mouth, the easiest way is to use this U-shaped modeling tool. The face is now completed. We'll leave it to dry before adding other details. But before it dries, we want to make a hole in it, so we can insert a toothpick in it to connect to the body at the final stage. I wrap some vegetable shortening on the toothpick so I can insert it into the head and pull it out clean, because at this stage, I'm just making a hole. I'm not really wanting to stick the toothpick in it. We want to do this before it dries because once this is completely dry, you won't be able to insert the toothpick in it without the risk of breaking it. When inserting a toothpick into any fondant pieces, don't just poke it in. Always do it slowly by turning the toothpick left and right and keep inserting. This way you won't misshape anything. Now that I make a clean hole, I will leave this to dry. I usually leave it to dry overnight. Moving on to the hands and legs. No matter what size or shapes I'm making, the same technique will apply. Always start by stretching and pulling, then form a ball, making sure there's no cracks on it. For the legs, I know I will need to insert toothpicks in them at the end to stick them to the body. So just like the head, I'll make a hole in them before leaving them to dry. Now moving on to the body. Since I'm making a little girl who is sitting on the cake, I'm going to shape the body and legs by placing it upright on a styrofoam base. When we are connecting parts that are bigger or longer, we need to insert toothpicks in them so they will be more secure and able to hold their shapes. For the dress, I'm placing it on top of a piece of foam, pressing the ball tool on the edge to create a slight ruffle. Repeat the same steps for the second tier. Just like all other details, you can make the outfit as complicated or as simple as you want. I want these ruffles to hold their shapes while they're dry, so I'm placing some parchment paper underneath them. While waiting for the little girl's body and head to dry completely, we'll move on to the zebra. Making animal is usually easier, but the same fundamental technique will apply. Remember, when sticking small pieces of fondant into the main piece, always make a little indentation, then insert the small pieces in so it will be more secure. When making the animal's nose, I'm not making little holes to insert the fondant into it. This is because I'm going to use a toothpick to press these tiny pieces on it to create the nostrils. And by doing this, the tiny pieces are now securely attached to the head. Now that all the parts are done, I'm going to put the pieces together by placing the zebra right next to the little girl, just as how it would be on the cake. I want it to look like the zebra is hugging the girl, so one of his hands and legs will be behind the girl. The hand at the back will need more support, so I'm inserting a toothpick in it to connect to the body. I will leave it to dry before placing the head on top. This is because the head is big and heavy. If I place it on now before the body is dry, the head will add some weight to the body and might press it down. Now that the little girl's head is completely dry, I'm going to add hair to it. You could add the hair without waiting for the head to dry completely if you're a little impatient. I'm doing this because when I'm adding hair to a head, I must constantly picking the head up, holding it, and add pressure to it when sticking the hair on. If the head is not dry, I can easily misshape it or leave fingerprints on it. Now for the final detail, just like the zebra, it's coloring the cheeks. I'm using powder color for this and applying it with a palm brush. This will help prevent the application of incorrect blotches of color or noticeable brush strokes on the cheeks. Now that the dress is completely dried, I can remove the parchment papers and place the head on the body. Same as the zebra. And these are now completed. We'll make lion and leaves in the next video.